COSATU and its affiliates are embarking on their nationwide strike shortly. The Labour Federation has called on non-essential workers to turn out in their numbers to support its National Day of Action against the country's crippling economic crisis. It is demanding a moratorium on retrenchments. This follows large-scale retrenchments at the South African Post Office, the metals group Sibanye Still Waters, and this year, COSATU's parliamentary coordinator Matthew Park says the point of the nationwide strike is to compel government and business to address the challenges society, including workers, are facing. We now cross to Durban, where SABC News reporter Jayed Paulse is tracking the COSATU march. Jayed, good afternoon once again. From the last time we spoke in the last hour, you were hoping that a memorandum would be served. What has been the latest? Where are the march? Where's the march at right now? All right. We're trying Jayed Paulse again, who's in Durban, I beg your pardon, and she is tracking that strike by COSATU, and we're trying to get her to see if the strike has been progressing and how that is working out. But we also have COSATU leaders that are addressing the workers outside the Johannesburg Stock Exchange right here in Johannesburg in Sandton. Let's listen into that.
All power! All power! Uzoyithola kanjani?
Manda, balasa meeting marching ange. Yes, the president. Balasa mtebe. Will speak. Will greet them. They will greet you properly when they come to speak to you. Let us introduce Eli Katseba. Aka opela king meter. Comrade Deputy President of MUM, Comrade Philip Vilagazi. Where is Comrade Philip? Oh yes, Akaopela.
Mando! Kula mnoto, kula! Kula mnoto, kula! Ababoshe le bajonjago, ababoshe! Ababoshe le bajonjago, ababoshe! Mando! Mando! Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy President. Can we now introduce the National Women's Structure Secretary of NUM, Matapelo Kanye?
Amanda! Amanda! Phansi nge-capitalist phansi! Phansi ngabahlukumezi phansi! Amanda!
Can we introduce the Secretary of COSATU National Gender, Comrade Emily? Comrade Emily.
Collective bargaining phambili phansi ngomdlwembe phansi phambili nge-maternity protection phambili siyabafuna abantwana siyabafuna.
Can we also request the President of Tinosa, President Simon Trangwani, to come and greet workers? Comrade Trangwani.
Amanda! Away to Maka!
What you're watching now is the march in Johannesburg. They have arrived at the JSE and currently introducing the members of the affiliates unions that are also taking place in that COSATU march. We will be going back to Nosipho Khatebe, who is in Sandton in the Johannesburg leg of the COSATU march. But for now, we go back to Durban, where SABC News reporter Jayed Paulse is tracking the march in Durban. Good afternoon, Jayed. You couldn't hear me earlier on, but what has been the latest? I see that the comrades are still moving, albeit at a much slower pace than before. But what are they saying this time?
Well, a very good afternoon, and yes, in the Durban leg, what started out in hundreds has now turned into thousands. as we have SABC as well as COSATU, COSATU and SABC also joining in on the nationwide march. Speaking to COSATU Provincial Secretary, they said that, you know, the sector is well known for its heightened job insecurity, casualization, retrenchment and perpetual job loss, and this is what they are trying to find, to mitigate with a government. And then speaking to Edwin Mkhize from COSATU, he said their primary demands are once again the halting and escalating of the retrenchment rate, addressing weakened economic growth and combating living costs. But to speak to the Public Service Association, I am joined by Umlungisi Ndlovu. Umlungisi, we've spoken to several other trade unions, but as the PSA health sector still remains a challenge, we're still seeing several of our nurses and our doctors leaving the country. Once this NHI bill is implemented, where does it leave the health sector?
So as PSA, we are part of this march under FEDUSA. We've got very concerned in terms of the health sector. Most of the doctors and nurses are leaving our country because we believe that the department should be able to plan proper and fill all the vacant positions. And we do appreciate there are challenges of budget where we call the Premier to be able to intervene to make sure that they invest more money in health sector, in education. You've got educators that are unemployed, you've got social workers that are unemployed, you've got many crises. You also have a challenge of illegal immigrants. In South Africa, illegal immigrant, it's easy for them to find job without paper, whereas our South Africans, they have no job. That's why we support FEDUSA, that they call for decent work, they call for action, because we don't have a crisis on policy issues, on legislation. We've got challenges on enforcement. We have what we have seen done by Department of Labor of enforcing. It's not only the employee who are employed illegal. We've got companies that are operating illegal in South Africa. So we are saying we need more doctors, we need more nurses, educators. We must see investment. In KwaZulu-Natal, there are over 10,000 vacancies. This position must be filled. We have also seen the victimization of workers. You go to Prince Mshieni, Dr. Beasley, and other hospitals and other departments where workers are being oppressed. We've got constitution that we must protect. We've got benefit that we must protect. That's why as PSA in the province, we are saying we need action, we need enforcement, failing which the people who cannot deliver must be removed. We call upon the president to hold the executive accountable. We call the provincial. We want to work with them, but if they frustrate our workers, we can't work with them. So they must create decent work. They must stop exploitation.
Before I let you go, Mr. Ndlovu, there's a serious, meticulous document that's going to be handed over, a list of demands by several of the unions here that are in collaboration and standing in solidarity. As the PSA, what are some of your demands?
So our demand is that we demand decent work. Can I give you a classical example? The Tibet College in December, they terminated 100 workers. So we need decent work. We are saying they must come to board. There's negotiation. Government is giving us 3%. They don't want to recognize public servants. Public servants are human beings. They've got needs. They must come to the negotiation. Send the people who are serious about negotiation. We are saying they must go to the table with a better offer, because if they are not doing that, our members are willing to down tools, but we want to negotiate in good faith.
Thank you very much. Well, that was Umlungisi Ndlovu, PSA manager here in KZN, just talking about the PSA stance. We've heard from COSATU, we've heard from COSATU, we now heard from the PSA, who are saying simply that we cannot carry on like this. Nurses and doctors are leaving the country for better opportunities, saying that they need to also address the high unemployment rate and also provide decent jobs. But these are some of the sentiments on the placards as well. If Nomhle Ngubani behind the camera can just walk with me so I can show you on your screen. Some of the placards are being hosted here. Address the high increasing cost of living, address the high unemployment, create decent jobs. We demand speedy implementation of the Zondo Commission recommendations. accommodations, another one. Business and government must agree with COSATU and lay the law. If I can just ask that gentleman to move out of shot. Labour law reforms demands, and business and government must agree with. Well, we've just read that COSATU labour law demands. So this is what's happening in Durban. We've seen from hundreds of workers coming out in their numbers on the streets. It's now increased to thousands. We are almost at the City Hall where we are told that a list of demands will be handed over. So I'll leave it there and hand back to you in studio.
Thank you so much, Jayed. Jayed is in Durban, and she is, along with Nontle, tracking that COSATU strike in that part of the country.